Hello guys, welcome to this video. In our previous video we discussed the concept of HTML, and in today's video we want to talk about CSS and build some projects with it and see how we can apply the concept of HTML and CSS into the real practical work. Okay, like we just need to create simple web page like login form with HTML and CSS in this video. If you have not watched the previous video, I'll drop the link on the description box below or you click on the icon above. Okay, I'll just start by creating a folder workspace for where we want to work. I'll just name this workspace website. So you can create the folder in any directory of your choice. So this folder, if you have not watched video on how to install VS Code on your local machine, I'll drop the link on the description box below, or you can navigate to my channel. Back here in my channel, you can see videos on how to install it. And please, if you've not subscribed to my channel, do so. You get notification when I upload new courses on this channel. Okay, so I believe that you have VS Code installed in your system. If you don't do so, check out the channel and get a video on that. Get your system ready for this training. Okay, I just created this folder on my desktop. You can create it in any directory of your choice. So to open this folder, there are two ways you can open it. You can either drag it and drop on your VS Code. If you drag it and drop, it's going to open VS Code, this folder on VS Code. If you don't want it that way, you can just open the empty folder like so. You have like this, then click on here and type CMD. You can use command prompt to open that. Type CMD to open command prompt. Then you type code space dot like so. Then um, the folder will be open on VS Code directly for you. Okay, so these are the two ways you can use to open a folder on your VS Code straight away. Okay, but now if you want to follow the other way to open this folder on your way, I'm still going to show you the way. As we see, the folder has been open website here this. But if you don't want to use this method, if it's too long for you, the easiest way you can do, just click on the folder, drag it, and drop on VS Code on your local machine. Then that folder will be open on VS Code for you. Fine. Now that we have a working directory well set up right now, we're going to create the files we need to work on. So what we want to create is a registration form using HTML, CSS, HTML and CSS. Okay, on still this form, we're going to do some little form validation, introduction to form validation. So if you have not watched my JavaScript courses, I'll drop the link on the description box below so you do so at the same time. Okay, now outside here, we just click on outside here. We're going to create a new file. Here you can see new file, or you click outside here. So I'll just click here, new file. First of all, I want to create an HTML file. I can just call the HTML file any name you want. But remember, when you are naming the file, there's not going to be space in between them. For example, you cannot type something like website, or let's say first website rather, first first space website. You cannot do something like this. You don't need to give space in between, right? So the normal naming conventions is you just either use underscore or camel casing to differentiate words. Okay, so I'm just going to name this file index.html. Index.html. Remember, you must add this extension HTML for it to work. Okay, so we have the file created. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up the HTML snippet. If you were using VS Code, just type HTML like so. You will have these options set up. So you click on this working with HTML5. So just click on HTML5, then I'll have this snippet set up on my system straight away. If you have not watched the introduction of this HTML or my video, I'll drop the link on the description box below, or you check out my channel for introduction to HTML so you will understand all these concepts here. Okay, so let's just call it registration page. Registration page. That's the first project we want to build. Registration page. Okay, good. So we have this on the title. So let's just preview this on our page and see. I will have like heading 3 says registration form. Okay, that's just what we want to do. We want to do registration form. So for us to fill it on the browser, there are a couple of ways you can do that. You can come to this run and do run without debugging. You can use this to run it, or you copy the path. So if I select web app, like with my Chrome installed on my system, this is going to launch on the Chrome for me. So I have the web launched. So we have this registration form. So we already set up now this stage. Okay, next thing we're going to do on this page is for us to start setting up the form proper, right? Registration form is going to have like how many fields in it. So I was just going to do away with this. This was just for testing of this application. So if you not watched my previous video on form and introduction to some HTML elements like form, table, and paragraph, I'll drop the link on the description box below, or you check out my channel for this. Remember to subscribe to my channel to be updated with my new courses. Okay, so I'll type form here. Then inside the form, we're going to have some form actions inside there. So we're going to have input fields. The first input fields we'll have will be a text of type text, and it's going to be, let's just call it full name. It's going to be full name. So we're going to have a name. Then we'll call it full name, full underscore name, full name. Let's take it this way. Okay. Then another thing, we're going to have placeholder. If you have not programmed before, just follow me step by step, even though it didn't make sense. By the time you do it two, three, 4 times, you're going to understand how it goes. So let's just call it full name. Full name here. Okay, another input field. Let me show you how it's going to look like. If we go back to the browser, which will launch this, and we refresh it, right? We're going to have one input field, right? Okay, but let's still have head form. That's a registration form, registration, registration form, like so. Okay, we have the registration form set up. So if we go back again and look into it, we have registration form. Let's have another input full name. We want to call it full name. Let's call it email address. So the type here is going to be email because we want to have some sort of default validation. The name is going to be email address, and we're going to have placeholder email address. Okay, what placeholder did? This placeholder is mostly used to write in text inside printed text inside the input box, right? Okay, so with this, we're still going to collect phone number, email address, phone number, Jquery input. It will be number. Want to collect phone number, and it's going to have a name of phone, phone underscore num, like so. And we're going to have a placeholder that says phone number, like so. Okay, we have fields now. We have three fields. Let's have password and confirm password. So we have input field. We're going to have here the type is going to be password. Password. If you allow this type to be text, okay, I'm going to show you with time. So let's do name phase and call it password. And we'll also have placeholder that we'll call it um, password. Password. We're going to have confirm password as well so that we can confirm the password with immediate effect. Okay, type is still going to be password. Name is going to be confirm password. Confirm underscore password. So we'll just say confirm password as well. Okay, let's check it out. So these are the fields we have. You can type anything inside, but believe me, it's not looking nice. You see the password field when you type, you cannot see it. Why it's like that is because of this type password. It will allow here to be text. If we go back and type, you'll be seeing what you type. So that's why you make the password field to have a type of password like so. Okay, but we have seen that this our form is not looking attractive anyway. We're just going to build a very awesome form. So with HTML, you can use you'll be able to use CSS, that's cascading style sheet, to suit the representations of the document. That means bringing styles and positions of everything, colors to your web page. So with time, I'm going to bring the introduction of HTML still, or CSS rather, still in the same video, which will help us to have a very good looking registration form. Okay, so now I don't just want my form to be like this. I want to wrap my form with a kind of container. So I want to have a div with a class name of, let's call it container, like so. Class name of container, right? Okay, I want to press it. If we check out here, nothing changes, right? In a former video, I said that container div are container that holds other elements, right? Okay, so with this, you'll be able to make some changes to as in position some stuff easily. Okay, with this, I want to also wrap each of my input field, right, with a div, so I'll be able to style them properly, right? Okay. So I'm going to have a div with a class name. So the easiest way to write name with a class div with a class name is to call the name of the element, then you use dot, then you specify the name of the class. Okay, then at the end you press tab. So I'll just type div dot the name of the class I want. So I can just call it let me just call it form component form dash compo. Okay, form div. Let me go input div rather dot input dash div, right? Okay, I press tab at the end, then I'll have this snippet completed for me. So I want each of um, my input field to be inside this div. So I'm going to have div numbers of them. Like so, I'm going to remove this first input field and put it inside here, right? Okay, I'm going to get the second input field, then I'll put it inside here, right? And this as well, put it inside here. And I'll still have this last div. It's a class that all of them need to have. I'm going to talk about this, right? Okay, so if I paste this here, I'm going to close it down here. Okay, I have all my input field inside their respective div. If we go back there, we only have these changes on a form straight away, right? Okay, now HTML can work well with CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. It is used to show the representation, good looks and feel in terms of styling, positioning of text, and dealing with boxes of HTML properties so that it can look nice. This form is not looking attractive. For us to make this look attractive, we must apply styles to it. So we're going to use CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheet, to apply style to here. Let's just go there. There are three ways we can apply style in CSS. We can either use inline styling, internal styling, or external styling. I'm just going to show you these three ways so that any way best for you, you can make use of them. Okay, the first one is inline styling. Like inline styling have to do with applying style in between that specific element you want to style, like this div, right? Way I just want to apply style to this div, right? I can just write the inline style using the keyword style equals to as an attribute, then I will pass in what I want. If I want background color, I can just say background color, like so. This is CSS, right? Background color, I can just say green, like so. If we go back to if we refresh it, we see that automatically we have the screen background color. So we are automatically applying a inline style to this particular element, which is div straight away. But inline style, the difference between inline style and others, if you use in the inline style, you will not be able to reuse it later, right? You always need to write this style all the time. You want to use it in any as per different element. Okay, this is how you use inline style, the HTML, the CSS property, and its value, right? Okay, but we'll have internal styling. Internal styling require you to write the style either on the head of the HTML using the keyword style, like so open and close tag style, or you can even write it inside the body of the HTML. It's still going to work fine, right? Okay, so um, with internal styling, I'm just going to do away with this straight away, so we can continue straight away. With the internal styling, you specify this attribute style on the head or the body of the HTML file. Then you select the elements you want to style. For instance, let's say we want to style this element name form or the form. Form is an element. We can just call it inside here form right away and open the tab inside. Then write the CSS property, for example, background, like so. Then we'll specify, let's say, gray, specify the background. It will check if we're going to have this, right? Okay, this is amazing. Now, in a situation whereby you're going to use, let's say we want to style div, and you know that we have this element div, we have it up to like how many? One, two, three, four, five, and so on. If we call the div element to style a div, since there are so many div on the on this specific page, is going to conflict it. So that brings us with what we call HTML selector, right? You can now give a selector is an idea whereby you give HTML elements an ID, unique identity, like a name, so that when you want to style that specific element, you're going to call it by its name, right? Okay, so that's exactly you can do that. You can select element in CSS using class. You can use ID. You can use tagged name. You can use so many other attributes. That is why we have class. The easiest way to do that is when you are creating this element like div, like so, you give it a class, right? This class now, you give it a name. This is a unique name for this specific element. If I want to style only this element, I'm going to call this name container instead of div, right? Okay, the same thing with ID. If you want to give an ID, you can give an ID, then you give it a name, right? The difference is always that with a class, by the time you name element by class, when you want to style it with CSS, you're going to make use of a dot selector. For instance, here, if I want to use this style this container, I'm just going to use dot container. The dot the dot is a selector. A class selector shows that the element you're referring to, the HTML element, is actually a class, right? Okay. So while if you are using ID, you're going to use hash, the name of that specific ID. Let's say we've given this element an ID, like so. Let's say we give it an ID like ID equals to input, like so. So if I want to select it, I'm going to use hash input, like so. Then I'm going to have it done, right? Okay, so for instance, let's just style it. Let me put color to it, background color, right? For this, let me put black to it. If we go back to the browser and check, we're going to see that we have black up here, right? Okay, we'll have black up here while these other ones have gray. So that means that we have successfully select an element, right? An HTML element using CSS, right? That's just the concept. When you're writing CSS, you must specify the selector of the element, then the name of the element. The selector here refers to either is a class or an ID. If you are selecting element by tagged name, you just call the name of the element. For example, head 1. If I want to style this heading 4, I'm just going to call head 4, h4, like so, and say color equals to red, like so. If you check on the browser, the color of this will automatically change to red because I just selected by the the element's name. But if I give it a sort of ID, like and now say type 2, like so. If I style it directly with this title, I'm going to select it by using hash, then before the name title. If I didn't put the hash, it's not going to work out. If I do like so, the style is not going to reflect on it. So you're going to use hash to select the specific title if you are using ID. Remember, when you are using ID, the selector is hash. When you're using class, the selector is dot. When you are using the element itself, you just call the element name. Okay, these are the three ways we'll be using in this video to select element. Okay, this is internal styling this way. Then the remaining method of styling is just external styling. There's no big difference between uh, internal styling and external styling. The only difference is that with external styling, you create the CSS file separately. Why we would like using internal external styling is because it can be reusable. You write all your styles in one file and you can call it in many other HTML files. You can reuse them again. So that's what we're going to use straight away. So to do that, we'll just create a new file and call it main.css. When you're creating a CSS file, the extension must end up with .css, right? Okay, just like HTML. So this create HTML CSS file for us with immediate effect. If we remove all this stuff from here, like so, all this, let me just remove it from here. If we go back to the browser and check, there's no style anymore again. For us to write the style here, let's say we want to style this title in this heading 4, we can just use hash title in the CSS file we just created. We can just say color red, right? If we check it out, the color is not has not been applied. Reason being that we need to link this file to this HTML file, right? Okay. To link the CSS file external style sheet to the HTML file, you always link it on the head section of the HTML document. So we have heading here. In between the heading, you have what we call link to. If you just type link, it's going to give you this snippet. Then we have href, which stands for hypertext referencing, where the main file you want to link to this file is located. So we're just going to provide the path of the CSS file inside here. So we can just do dot forward slash, we'll have access to the main.css file we created in this our working directory. So if we click on it, now automatically we have linked this file. If we go back again, you can see that we have the file well linked to the HTML file. So now we are good to go. Okay, so now we'll be writing our CSS files, styles inside this file, then it will reflect on our web page. Okay, let's code it. So the first thing I need to do right away is just to segment all these things into section, right? Okay, to do that, right, I'm going to bring some lines between, bring background color, increase the size of these box and do many other different things. I think we still miss one thing, that's the submit button. So let's add it immediately. We're just going to use button here, just call it submit, and the type is going to be submit. Type is going to be submit, right? Okay, we just have this set up so we can submit a file down here. Okay, so let's style this form immediately. Okay, first of all, I want to put background color to this entire web page, right? So on my, since I have a body here, body contains all the files that are seen on the web page. So I'm just going to style this body, put background color to it. So up here, first of all, I'm going to come up here and call the HTML main body. Remember that we have body here as the HTML element. So I can just say background color. on the body, I need to have something like dark blue, something like that, a navy blue. I'll just I'll use this to teal on what I want. I need something dark navy blue. Okay, let's go and check it out. I can refresh. Okay, I have this. The color is being set up now. Let me choose something more. You can use any color you like. This is background color is one of the CSS property that add background color to the element in questions. In this case, you have to specify background background hyphen color, then you have semicolon, then the value. The value can be in like the name of the color, it can be in RGB format, it can be in hexadecimal format, right? We're just going to make use of all of them, right? The color value in HTML ranges from 1 to 255 abi one zeros rather 0 to 255. So you can specify the color in between the space, right? This first section stand for red, this second stand for green, and the third one stand for blue. Okay, you can add any color you want, right? Okay, so for now, this is the color we selected. I think this is good for us, right? Okay, we're just going to have the form at the middle, in this middle of this page. So what we're going to do again is, since we have the background color set, we want the form to have another background inside, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is to put color to this container. I'm going to remove this immediately. I'm going to put color to this container. So I just copy this, go to my CSS file. I can now remove this. Okay, let me leave it to my CSS file. Remember is class. Since it's class, you're going to use dot the name of the this thing, in this case container, like so. Then open curly brace. Then we're going to put background color, right? Again to this background color, I want it to be light. So we're going to use hexadecimal. When you're using hexadecimal, you're going to use hash first, then later from 0 to 9, then from A to F, rather A to F. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to have F1, F1, F1. I like this color. F1 is going to give you a kind of close to gray color, something like that. If we check now, you're going to see that we have another color, right? Okay. So, and it spans everywhere. The color spans everywhere, right? Okay. So we want it to be at the middle, right? And we want to add some other CSS style to it, like padding. Padding in CSS is used to bring out the gap between the end of this box, this particular div box. Remember that we have a div, this particular div before all these forms inside. So the gap between the main input field and the div box, right? Okay, that's just what we're trying to bring the cap small. So if you put padding like 8 pixels, the padding can be counted in pixels or it can be counted in percentage or any other value you're familiar with. So we're going to work with pixels straight away. So if we refresh this, you're going to see that we have 8 pixels gap between here and the box and 8 pixels gap between here and the box, everything like that, right? Okay, so that's just cool and it's actually very cool. So next thing we're going to look at is how to shift this to the middle of this box. So for us to achieve that, really, we can just wrap this particular form with another div, right? I'll just have a div that I'll call it inner like so. Okay. Then I'll close it down here to close the form. Form is going to be inside the inner, right? Okay. Notice how it is, right? So is this inner now, if we try to do some other things like text align, center, I'll explain. We're going to have this at the center straight away. Text align specify is an HTML attribute or properties that specify where you want the text to be, whether at the center, middle, or at the start. So in this case, it will specify uh, n. Let me say start. Let's say n is going to go back. It will specify right, right. Yeah, it's going to go to the right like so. So it takes value like center, text right, and it takes left. So we're going to specify center right away. So we're going to have this form at the center straight away, right? Okay. And in this case, we don't want this um, background to be as big like this. We just need small stuff at the middle that will look fine. So we're not going to put background on this very first, let me expand this, on this very first div. Instead, we're going to put the background on this inner div. So let's go back here. Instead of background here, we're going to have the inner, right? Which is the inner div, and we're going to have the background. I'm going to remove the background here. You can watch this. This is how it will look like when you remove the background, right? At the middle. So we're going to have the background rather in this inner div straight away. And you can see that it's very big as well, right? It's still very big. So we're just going to find a way to make this background color to stop somewhere here. But before then, let's expand the size of this input field and style it so that it's going to look nice. Okay, so one of the ways we can do that is, first of all, we can get these input fields by their name and type, right? Okay, and we can now apply the styles to individual one of them. We can increase the size. So if we go to CSS and call the input field by their names, right? All these names and type, there's a way we can select it. So we can just do input, right? And remember the input have a type, right? Of type, we have different types. We have email, number, and password, right? So we're just going to call all of them. So the first one is email. Then we'll copy this again, right? Okay, you can separate it with comma. Separate it with comma. So email, number, and we're going to have password, right? Password, like so. So we're going to have this. So let's just say if we put color, let's just say background color for testing and see how it's going to work. Let's say black, like so. Let's see whether it will good. You see we have been able to grab all the inputs now, right? Okay, so we can do anything we want to do to the input straight away. So we don't want to put background color to it. What we just want to do is increase the size. So we can have height like 30 pixels. it will go, the height will increase automatically, right? Okay, 30 pixels I think is good, right? Okay. Next thing we're going to increase is the width. The width is going to increase by let's say 150 pixels, right? It's small, 150 pixels is small. So let's say 300, 250 pixels width. Okay, good. I believe this is good. 250 pixels, good. Okay, next thing we're going to do here is to bring down, separate it from each other, right? So let's say if we have margin top, margin top is used to shift the element, is different from padding, is used to shift the element from top, right? Give a gap between the element and the parent element from top. So if we specify, let's say 10 pixels, it's always in pixels, we're going to have these caps, right? 10 pixels. So I think this is not enough. We can have 15 pixels straight away. Okay, this is better rather, right? Okay. Now, next thing we're going to work on, we're going to work on the border of this. We don't want to have this black on the line, right? And on focus like so. So we're going to just have we have border radius, border. Let's specify border 1 pixels, 1 pixels solid. Border is going to give a surrounding border to this particular um, form field, right? So 1 pixels um, solid, solid. Then we have the color. Let's put red to it. I'll just tilt the red to be light red. So this is what we're going to have now, right? You see, if we click on it, we still have a kind of um, focus border. So we're going to remove that, right? Okay, so to remove the outline, we'll have this to remove this outline that's showing up here. It's just next thing we need to do is to grab the entire of this selector because the outline is in all of them. We'll get it down here. I'm going to add column focus on it straight away like this. Then we're going to say outline. Then we're going to use none on it. Then it will refresh this again and see we're not going to get the outline display. Good. Okay, we'll have this set up at this moment. Next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to bring this text inside here. So go back to my HTML. Instead of being on the body section, I'm going to cut it from here and put it inside this inner div straight away like so. Okay, so I just have this inside here, and this is very nice and awesome for now, right? So we're just going to style this submit button from this HTML. So I'm going to give it an ID this time around. Let's use ID like so. So I'm just going to call it btn as the class for the ID. So down here I'm going to call it btn ID. Remember, we use um, an ID, so we're going to use a selector of hash. So I'm going to call it the name BTN. So this is going to be uh, size. Just let's first of all give margin top so that it give us some top margin like let's say 10 pixels. Okay, we're going to have margin top rather. Margin top is going to give us that top. So we have this up down here. So let's style it up a little bit and make it look good. So we're going to have width. The width of this is going to be uh, the width is going to be 15 pixels. Width is going to be 50 pixels, like so. It's small, so we're going to make it 100 pixels. 100. Good. It's okay. So is going to be the height is going to be, let's say, 20 pixels, like so. It's too small. 20 pixels is small. We're going to have 50 pixels. It's too big. 30 pixels. Good. I think it's good. So we're going to have what we call border radius. Border radius is going to give a rounded end. So border radius of 8 pixels. Okay, so we have that. And we're going to have background color on this. So background color straight away. Let's the background color of um let's have this background color. So I'll just going to grab this background that we have here to be the background color of this specific element. Okay, so we have this. So the text should be white. So to put the text, change the text color, we're going to use um, F1, 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 like so. So we have submit. Good. And we have this with this color, and we have the text color to be F1, F1, F1. This thing is a decimal color. We can, now that we have this, we can put some offered color with it, so that if we offer on this, we're going to have some other colors bring as in being put in place. So to do so, we can have hash btn, then we have offered. It's a CSS property that enables um, you to put an extra color. So we can say background color. So the background color is going to be a lighter version of this, right? So we're just going to put it here, paste it here, then I'm going to tilt it to a lighter version of this. So if we check this, if you come up here, you're going to see display. Okay, so this is good and this is cool, straight away. Okay, so far so good. We have the registration form set up, nice one. Next thing we're going to do, we want to shorten this box. We want it to be a very portable box, like so, which we're going to have. Okay, so for us to do that right, we're just going to specify the minimum width of this particular container that holds this. So on this HTML file, we have this is the div. This div inner is the one that holds the entire form and is the one that contains this color. So we're going to specify the minimum width using CSS property. So if we go down to here, we can just use the maximum, right? Maximum or minimum? Maximum width. Let's try it and see. Let's just choose 400 pixels. Let's check it out. Good, right? Okay, 400 pixels. Maximum width 400 pixels. So we're still going to find way to align this to the center, right? We're going to find way to align it to the center, maximum width 400 pixels, and we're still going to add more padding to this. I think it will have like up to 20 pixels padding. It's going to make it look good. Let's position it on the center and see how it goes. Okay, for us to position it, I think we're going to play around with this parent container and see how we can shift it. This is the parent container that holds the entires of the form. So we're going to make everything inside it to be at the center. Let's see how we can do that. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to align this box at the center. So for us to do that, we'll just go straight to this parent container that contains this. Actually, this might not be responsive in small device, but as we continue in this training and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make it responsive using Bootstrap. Okay, so now we have the form, the minimum width which we want to view, and now we want to have it at the center. So I think the possible way we can just is to declare the margin left like 200 pixels, and we have margin right as well. Margin right 200 pixels. Let's just see how it goes. If we check it out, okay, it's not that much at the center, so we can have like 300, 300. They each 300 pixels, and we have 300 pixels. Good. We have it at the center now. So let's break it down small. We'll bring it down small so we can have margin top as well. Let's have margin top like 200 pixels. Let's check how it's going to be. It's too much. I think 100 pixels will be better, or 80 pixels rather. 80 pixels. Okay, good. So guys, congratulations. We just set up this first form and we have the form. Couple of stuff we can do again is to have the box radius or border radius rather. So we can have something like border radius. This border radius is going to cover the edges of this internal form. So border radius, we will have like border radius rather. We can have like 10 pixels. So okay, it's not going to be here, sorry, right? It's going to be on this inner form, this particular inner, because we want to curve this, so we can have the border radius inside here straight away. So we're going to have this curve. So if you want this to the edges to curve well, very well, you can increase this to 15 pixels or thereabout, depending on how you want it to do. So this is how we set up this form, and this is how you work with form. You can fill this, right? Anything you want to fill inside here. And because we use email, we have a default validation with it. That email is going to be something like email at gmail.com. Gmail.com before it's going to work out. Okay. So this is how to set up form. If you don't want this border radius, you can just remove it, comment it out here by using forward slash asterisk inside here. Then if we refresh it, we'll have this. So we have a first registration form set up, but notice that if you open the console of this, if you try to open if you inspect this, that this form is not responsive, right? So this is just for tutorial sake. Okay, on our next video, I'm going to show you how to make this form responsive. If you've not subscribed to my channel, do so. So when I upload new videos, you'll be notified. And like this video, drop comment on the comment section down there. See you in the next video.